Hello, I am Adam with DSL, Dropship Lifestyle, and today we have a very special guest. We have Danny from Lucky Orange. How's it going, Danny?
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Nice to be here.
Great. Today we're going to be talking about Lucky Orange, how it might benefit your e-commerce sites, your sites, give you some good data from having an intelligent dashboard, and hopefully getting rid of some analysis paralysis on getting some good data, good feedback from the visitors coming into your store, from the recordings to dynamic heat maps to chat functionality, conversion funnels, all kinds of stuff. So Danny's going to be going through some of this information with you on his screen, and we're going to have questions coming in through the chat. So I'm going to be looking out for those questions. Danny is as well. So you can see if Lucky Orange is a good fit for you and your business, or you want to check it out. So Danny, if you want to go ahead and kind of get started and kind of show our audience some things that Lucky Orange does and see how it might benefit those watching.
Absolutely. So let's start here kind of with just a background of really what Lucky Orange does and who it's really meant for. So like many of you, we really designed Lucky Orange for this e-commerce world or direct response world where you have your website, maybe it's your first or second website, and you're working with a company maybe like Shopify, or it's your own hosted site. But you struggle from understanding how visitors are interacting with your website. You got a site, it looks good, but visitors just aren't converting at the rate you hope they would. So you're kind of lost, and maybe you tried bidding on something different or buying a different advertisement somewhere, but you're still struggled. So let me walk through a typical example, and I'm sure it's going to resonate with a lot of you. So this here is a typical business owner named Kevin, or Jeff, rather. So Jeff has a website where he likes to sell scooters. And on this website, he, like many other business owners, wants to sell more scooters. So in this case, he built a website where he sends all of his traffic to maybe a landing page or a form where people can sign up to receive a test drive, and he's going to collect that lead information. And so 100 people came to his website, but only one person signed up. So Kevin or Jeff decides to start making changes to get more leads and a better conversion rate. So the first thing he does is he changes the color to green, that submit color there. He adds new text that says, take a free test drive. And he even adds some new font and pictures to his website to help encourage people to do it. And despite another 100 people coming to his website, he still only got one sign up. So the question is, why did this happen? Why did Jeff try all these changes and not make any meaningful impact to how many leads he got? Well, that's really where Lucky Orange comes in, because Lucky Orange is going to give you the tools, the knowledge, and the resources to help identify what visitors are doing on your site, where they may be becoming lost or confused, and how to ultimately change your messaging or layouts to help more visitors get through this funnel. So let's go back and look at Jeff's website using some of the Lucky Orange tools. So the first tool we'll look at is a heat map. So Lucky Orange provides dynamic heat maps where you can actually interact with your website and see it happen in real time. In this case, we can see that there were a lot of clicks that occurred on the submission button. So even though he was getting a lot of people clicking on it, we saw that he didn't get a lot of leads. So we look deeper and look at another tool Lucky Orange provides, which is form analytics, where we can actually see certain drop-off per fields of the form. In this case, we can see that there was a lot of people dropping off or abandoning this form in that last field, which was phone number. So another tool Lucky Orange provides are visitor recordings, where you can actually play back a session of someone interacting with your website like a movie. And here we see mouse movements, we see keystrokes and clicks. And in this case, we're seeing someone did try to fill out this form, entered a phone number, but the website told them the phone number was invalid. So they went back, tried to change the way they entered their phone number, and again, tried to submit it, but the website told them it was invalid. So what we found out is that this form actually had what we call a form validation rule that said the phone number had to be entered in a certain way, otherwise it is considered invalid. And these type of things happen daily on our websites. And unless someone picks up the phone and says, hey, your website's not working for me, oftentimes they just go back to Google and find the next result, which is often your competitor. And now all these tools are important for long-term improvements to the site, but sometimes you want to be able to help the customer the moment they need it, which is when they're still on the website. So we've also built in a chat feature built right into Lucky Orange, where you can have the one-to-one dialogue with any customer on their site, ask them questions about their experience, let them tell you what they're confused on, and help close the deal while they're still on the website. Now, to get all the tools that Lucky Orange has provided, you used to have to work with a lot of different vendors, and it would cost thousands per month. But we've really bundled it all into one platform and priced it effectively at just $10 a month. But more importantly, and we'll talk about price later because we actually have a special thing for dropship lifestyle users, is the accessibility and easy to use of the tool. And we'll jump into that in just a moment. But the important thing I want to point out is that Lucky Orange is available with the click of a button when you're on Shopify and many other environments too. So here's a sample of our app that's available in the Shopify App Store. We have over 100 5-star reviews. We're a very close partner of theirs. We work with them all the time to improve this. And all a visitor needs to do is come and click this Get button. And as soon as they do it, if you have a Shopify store, Lucky Orange is included on it. And then you're in your dashboard. And we're going to be tracking data for you. We'll be building conversion funnels for you. So here's a sample conversion funnel where we can see that 100 people came to the order and 30 people dropped off on the shopping cart page. The delivery options, more people dropped off, ultimately leading to 5 people converting with a 5% conversion rate. So all of this is done automatically for you by just pressing that Get Now button on Shopify. So let's jump into the actual tool itself so you can see some examples of how it works. And as questions come up, we'll definitely go over them. So let me know and feel free to chime in as well if you want me to address anything. So here's an example of a sample Lucky Orange dashboard. Again, all of this is included no matter what type of package you would be on, it's all included. So we're going to see some sample data here. So first thing we're seeing is how many current visitors are on your website, whether you have 5 visitors on your site, 100 visitors on your site, you'll see it all coming in here. We could see things like how many people have been there today and comparing it to a past period, top sources for your visitors or top keywords for how people found you, the languages or browsers people use to find you, even down to operating systems and device types too. So you can see how those get segmented across your traffic. Plus, there's a real-time Twitter feed, so you can see are people tweeting about your company? Are you tweeting? You can follow your competitors and see what they're tweeting about, and just give you a couple metrics of how that's performing for you. So for every visitor that's on the website, they're also going to be profiled as a live visitor. And you can do things like play the visitor session, do a live view, which is a real-time co-browse, where you can see interactions in real time of how people are engaging in the site. You can even ask a specific visitor to chat with a customized message. Of course, I can see other things like the source, so how people found you, the time on page, time on site, any UTM parameters you might be using in Google, and any other custom information you may be passing into the system. Now, for every visitor that's on the site that's being tracked, as we mentioned earlier, they're also being made into a recording. So a visitor recording is a lot like having that DVR for your website, where you can go back and look at a specific time period and see exactly how visitors interacted with your site, from clicks to moves to scrolls, products they viewed, items they added to their cart, even to if they ultimately converted and purchased or abandoned, and see why that might happen. But even though you'll have a lot of information coming in, we give you neat ways to segment this data. One of the ways we do it are with behavior tags that might say, tag this recording if the visitor goes to my shopping cart page, or tag this recording if they go to our contact us page or promotions page. And once you have these behavior tags, you can filter by them. So if I want to see visitors that made it to my home page, I can apply that tag, and now here are people that made it to home page and other pages. And if I want to see who made it to the home page and in our case, heat maps page, I can see the tags applied. But I can also do without a certain page. So who did not make it to account created. So a lot of different ways you can apply these behavior tags. And then of course, we can play back these recordings and see what their interactions might be. And we might have one queued up ready to go here. And we'll put in a few tags. And let's say in this case, they went to a pricing page. So this is just a sample recording of how a visitor interacted with the website. We're choosing to skip idle activities so we can see their interactions. We're seeing their mouse move. I can show these mouse paths and see exactly what they're doing from page to page. In this case, the visitor logged into their account. And there's another kind of sample recording. And again, we're just seeing the real user interactions. So this is going to be very different than traditional analytics like Google Analytics, where it might tell you metrics like average time on site or average time on page or bounce rate. So you might in the past say, well, how can I get my average time on site up? Well, does that mean that they're really interacting with the site, or did they open the page and then leave to go take a call, make a sandwich, and then come back? So when we say that they're on site for 8 minutes, you're going to see what they did for those 8 minutes, what they clicked on, what they scrolled, what they added to their cart. Did they try to add something to their cart, but an error popped up? And then if an error popped up, can you do a deep dive and figure out why did they see the error? So you can look at the visitor information and figure out, did they come from a certain browser that didn't work right? Were they on a mobile device and the mobile version didn't render correctly? So really you can filter and segment by many different things. And have it all populate, including mobile devices and tablets as well. So as we mentioned earlier, we'll just kind of keep going through here because I know there's probably a lot of questions coming up in Q&A, which will allow us to jump back. But there is a chat system built right in. So chat really works 3 ways. There's proactive chat, where you identify a specific visitor and ask them to chat with you. There's reactive chat, where you just say, hey, I'm available to chat. And when you click that button, a button will appear on your website that says, I'm available to chat, and people can speak with you when they are ready. Or you can set up an auto invite that says, if a certain person is on the page for a certain amount of time, or they're on a specific page for a certain amount of time, automatically ask them to chat with a customized message. So that way you can catch people that might be falling through the cracks because they visited your pricing page or they visited your shipping options page and they've been there for 2 minutes. Automatically say, hey, would you like to chat about our different shipping methods? Now, heat maps are also built right into the tool. Heat maps is a great way to kind of step back and say, oh, are a lot of people viewing my website in the way I just saw someone do it in a visitor recording? The first time you see a visitor recording, you almost want to put your hand right through the screen and move their mouse for them because you think they're doing it incorrectly. But in reality, people navigate the site in their own way, but it's our job as website owners to help identify all these different pathways and help streamline that process. So heat map's a great way to have that data aggregated, and then we show them how that happens. So here's a sample heat map from our pricing page. Now, again, our heat maps are dynamic. So if you've ever seen a heat map in the past, what it would do is it would take a static image of the page of your site and then overlay data on top of it. Websites are so different now because they have carousels and hover menus and drop downs that you want to be able to see the interactions with those things, especially on mobile devices. So our heat maps allow you to interact with the website, but have real data overlaid on top of it. So here we are on our pricing page, and we can see clicks happening all over the place in different concentrations. And I can click on what my top elements are in the upper right-hand corner. And this will let me know what are some of the most popular things, maybe they're images, maybe they're text, maybe they're links that people are clicking on my page. Or I can click on any element on my page. And here I'll click right in the middle. And it's going to pull up what my top elements are or what my top interactions are for that specific element. So let's say this is my call to action where I want people to click here to sign up. So I can see it's my most popular element on the page. And I can see segmentation. So what are some of the most popular browsers that people have that interact with it? What are the most popular countries, devices, and device types? And I have links to visitor recordings ready to go. So if I want to see example recordings of someone that interacted with that element, I can click on any one of these recordings on the right, and it will pull up a recording ready to go. And all of this will hold true as we segment the different types of heat maps. So right now we're looking at desktop visitors on my desktop site, but I could switch to tablet view. And I'm going to get the real tablet view of my website. And that, of course, would be true for mobile view as well. So we're not just resizing the screen, but we're also pulling the data. And over here, I have a filter for phone visitors too. And this includes other type of interactions with the page. So movements or scrolls. So one of the common things, and a scroll depth heat map, which I'm about to show you here, is a perfect example of identifying is how far down are people actually scrolling on my site? And are my value propositions and call to actions, are they even being seen? I think oftentimes we bloat sites with listing some products, and then we have some testimonials or quotes and value propositions. And by the time we stack all those up, our actual call to action is so far down the page that majority of visitors don't see it. So as I scroll down this page here, I can see different drop-off points until I eventually get to a point that said, this is my effective fold, which means this is how far down most people scrolled and then chose not to scroll down any further. And I can now see are some of my best points above or below this effective fold line, which again would indicate to me I need to reformat this page and put some of these great call to actions above this drop off. And what's neat about this data is all of it can be exported and saved. Yeah, go ahead.
No, nice. I like that feature for sure.
Totally. And so again, you can take a screenshot of this, save it, share it. If you work with other team members or web development people, this is data that can really easily be shared and interpreted. So the goal of what we're doing here is not just making you stay in Excel and looking at documents and reports, but we want this data to be very visual, very meaningful, and easy to understand. So that way, as soon as you make a change, as soon as the next visitor comes back to the site, you're looking at a recording of how they're interacting with the page. You're looking at new heat map data and insights. So it's all very real time. And of course, all this data can be segmented by browser. So if I only want to see visitors from a certain browser or people that triggered a behavior tag. So if I want to know how people clicked in general, but I also want to make sure these are visitors that did not acquire tags, so maybe did not convert. Where do my people who do not convert click the most versus people who did convert? And why are they clicking? Are they clicking on a link like my terms and conditions? So am I actually drawing people away from the sign-up process by giving them too much information to consider? So this will give you really good insights on that. And again, another heat map that actually plots little types of dots for every time there's a click that occurs. So just two other features I want to point out, and then we'll jump into some of that Q&A. The first is the polling feature. Polling is a great way to gain user feedback. It's a great way to alert visitors of information, or it can even act as a form of lead generation. So here's what a sample poll looks like. We've created one here. We allow you to leave the ability to give users to allow them to leave comments, or they can select from a range of choices. So you could ask a very simple question like, is there anything preventing you from signing up today? And just allow them to leave their comments. You could also say, is there anything preventing you from signing up today? It's my return policy. It's your best price guarantee. I couldn't find your add to cart button. So you can learn a lot from your visitors from a poll, or use it as lead generation. You could say, would you like to be contacted for a free estimate? Enter your email address below. And while you might have a long lead form somewhere else, you'd be surprised how many more people will just give you a phone number, an email address, in a quick submission fashion. You can, of course, color these polls to match the look and feel of your website, all from the dashboard. And even set the triggers to populate based upon various criteria that you set. So maybe you want people to see this poll if they're about to leave the site because they've moved their mouse outside the window. You can have the poll appear. You can have the poll appear if they've been on the site for a certain amount of time, or they've been on a page for a certain amount of time. So we might have a poll that might pop up on a pricing page that says, and if they've been there for 30 seconds, it might say, hey, do you want to know about our best price guarantee? Or sign up for our email blast and we'll give you 20% off your purchase today. Because when they fill out that poll, you can give them a special message. You can also redirect people. So if they say it's your pricing or your shipping options, you can redirect them to a document that you might have that explains your pricing and shipping options or your return policy. So a lot can be done with polls, but the important thing about polls is we like to make them minimally invasive, so low friction, but high value. So we're not talking about polls that pop up and prevent the user from moving on. It's really about this size, and they can X them out, they can interact with them, and go about their browsing experience. But a neat thing about the polls is that they're tied back to visitor recordings. So if somebody gives you a neat piece of feedback in the poll when you're viewing the responses, there's a link to play that visitor's recording ready to go. So if someone says, hey, your add to cart button was broken, or I couldn't find your checkout button, you go back and you click and play that recording, and you see exactly what they saw. And you can identify why it didn't work for them. And you might have said, oh my goodness, Firefox made some update that's killing my site. Or mobile devices aren't seeing a certain layout and I need to contact my hosting company or my website builder. But this is meaningful information that unless someone picks up the phone and tells you, hey, it's not working for me, you may not get. So we're pulling back this digital curtain to actually see what they're doing and getting these meaningful insights. And then, of course, the last feature here is our form analytics, which we saw earlier, which does a deep dive into how people engage in certain forms on your site. Anything from abandonment, so which fields are the most abandoned, which fields take a long time to submit, is there an average order people fill out your forms, or a certain fields being repeated a lot, which might indicate confusion or frustration. So it lets you know, are there certain, again, more barriers that we're putting in the place of people that's stopping them from converting? And is there things we can learn from this to just make a few simple changes to have these meaningful impacts on our site? So to kind of wrap this all up, again, this is really all bundled into one platform. The idea is to, whether you're a one-person team and you're very busy, or you have a big team behind you, give you the true insights into what people are doing in a very meaningful fashion, allow you to make changes to see those improvements, and then monitor those changes and make more improvements and more changes. Websites are, I think, are often seen as this static thing, but really they're almost like living, and you make a change to it and you see how that changes things, and you make a new change and you monitor it. And having a tool behind you that can help give you these information, was this a good change? Why was it a good change? Was it a not successful change? What can we learn from those people? Allows you to continue to evolve and perform better. Now, because of the partnership we have with Dropship Lifestyle, this last little plug I'll throw in here, we do have a special promotion that we are giving all members of Dropship Lifestyle, an extended 30-day free trial. No credit card required. So if you're considering, is this right for me? Should I be doing this? All members do get a 30-day free trial. So just try it, have a few chats, look at a few users. Even if you decide not to use it long term, I assure you within those first few days, you'll have a few moments of, wow, people are using my website wrong. In reality, they're not really using it wrong. They're just doing it the way they thought they were supposed to be using, but you're going to learn from them. And if you decide this is something you ultimately want to go with, all plans we have can be monthly, so they can be changed or canceled at any time. But to help sweeten the pot, we're doing an extra 20% off any plan. So
it's an awesome deal.
Absolutely. I do want to thank everybody for listening. I know a lot of good questions came in, so we can start engaging and interacting with any questions that you want to go over.
Yeah, and thanks for that, Danny. And hopefully it gave people, a look and feel, and definitely wanted to do something a little different and show, how it works, how it looks and feels versus just talking about it or whiteboarding. So people could kind of start to gauge and see if it's going to be a good fit for what they're looking at accomplishing. And I wouldn't see why it wouldn't, but if you feel like it wouldn't, we can answer those concerns as well. But let's see. So again, I'm Adam with Dropship Lifestyle. We have Danny, who's the COO and co-founder of Lucky Orange. They've had about over 70,000 customers. So I guess my question would be, having that many customers, how have you used? Because obviously you use it on your own site. How have you used that feedback, your own product, to kind of pivot or correct course or update your website? What are some trends, in other words, that you've seen recently?
Really great question. So the first is we truly use Lucky Orange every day. We're a small business like many out there, and so we rely on a few different things. We rely on maximizing our time to provide the most value. So the first thing we'll do is we'll use our Lucky Orange chat whenever possible. So that way we can be available and have the one-to-one dialogue. This helps with answering questions for prospecting new business. It helps with answering technical questions from existing business. So chat is a huge component of how we engage and interact with our customers on a daily basis. A second thing is we know that people are busy and they don't always have time to log in to get these insights. So we created a new feature called email reports, where you can have certain metrics and stats sent to you daily or weekly, and it's rolled up into this really nice package. I wish I had an example of it ready to go, but these emails are really curated to your website in different metrics that you might be interested in. So in our case, we're looking at some of our different behavior tags, like people that converted or signed up, people that made it to a billing page, and we can see, are these stats up or down today versus yesterday? But then we take it a step deeper and we look at things like the time of day that had the biggest change and geographically where those people came from. So we'll let you know, hey, most of your conversions that are up are different because you had more visitors from Facebook, more visitors from an email campaign. And not only top of that, most of your conversions happen between 11 and 2 o'clock Central Time. And most of those visitors came from the New York area. So this might tell you, hey, if I'm thinking about chatting, 11 to 2 o'clock Central is probably a good time I should do it because a lot of my conversions are coming from then. So it's another way that we've improved Lucky Orange to help with the amount of customers we have, but then also recognizing that our customers are busy. So we certainly rely on users using our product and then providing that feedback back to us about how they operate in their world so we can continue to adopt and evolve our product to meet their needs.
Great, and I know the users or people watching this will hopefully do the same thing and use that data and that feedback from the data that your product generates. So out of curiosity, is there some like I guess a couple examples you can give, maybe tying back to the heat maps, tying back to the chats that you've seen successfully convert like visitors into sales with Lucky Orange?
Totally. So the thing is, we want to remove assumptions, right? We don't want you to deal in assumptions. We want you to deal in definitive trends and patterns that you can see and validate. So we'll start with a couple examples of how you're able to do things. So when we talk about improving conversions or improving ROI, it's not just about growing the number of sales you have, which is very important, but it can also be about, am I spending my marketing dollars most effectively? And am I targeting the right users? So one thing you can do with Lucky Orange is actually segment your traffic based upon how it's converting. So we might see here that phone visitors makes up a certain portion of our traffic in desktop and browsers. But then if I apply a tag, like how many of those visitors actually made it to my pricing page? So I'll click on a tag. I can see that the majority of those visitors are all desktop and not from phone, and that their sources are very different too. So maybe I was bidding on a lot of traffic in Bing or trying to get a lot of Facebook traffic, which was providing a lot of mobile visitors. And I thought, oh, that's great. I'm getting a lot more visitors to my site. But then when I actually start looking at the insights and data, I can see that none of them are coming from those sources, and that phone traffic is actually performing very poorly. So that lets me know I can maybe adjust how much I'm spending in those areas, but at the same time, I'll go look at recordings, and then I'll start to look at recordings from people on mobile devices and say, are they having a different user experience? And I can play recordings to see how are these visitors from mobile interacting with the site to let me know that perhaps we need to change our layout for mobile users, because while we are getting mobile visitors, it's just not performing well for them. And the same thing would carry over to those heat maps as well too.
Great. So let's see what we have coming in. So I'll kind of go through some of these comments and kind of see what they say. Okay, so that random guy handle says hi. So hi. Teresa, I answered your question in the chat, but yes, we're live, and also, let's see, also provided the link that we were discussing that Danny says goes to that promo in the trial, so you can look in the live chat now. And if you're watching the replay, it's going to be somewhere probably underneath here, so look out for that link and you can see if this is right for you. So let's see what else we have coming in. And just to let you know, yeah, this is definitely have a replay, so just to be clear there, if you join the call like halfway through or you're watching, it's going to have the full duration, and it's going to be posted, should be posted on our site next week. So just FYI for all those here and joined late. Let's see, the great Bean earlier said just got here, so yes, that's for you. What I just said. I think some of your concerns have been answered by also, I was chatting, and then someone from Lucky Orange was in the chat as well. But I'm not clear how to pronounce your name, but it looks like an LLARIO. So you said, yeah, you said, what's up, everybody from Rhode Island? So what's up? And then you go on to say, wow, this is really a no-brainer. I'm definitely getting this. So, well, we like hearing that. So I'm sure Danny does too. Yeah. So, and you go on to say, so just to be clear here, and for others, that might be listening to this, you're asking about, does Lucky Orange even, let's see, does Lucky Orange record even when there is like a newsletter pop up on the screen? So he or she, it looks like he is asking about if it records pop-ups as well, like any type of pop-up. So if you could speak to that, I guess.
Yeah, sure. Just about anything that's going to be on your page, we are going to be recording interactions with. Some of the things we can't record are going to be some types of content in iframes, like YouTube videos, and that's just really due to a technical limitation of these iframes acting as almost a separate website within your website. But if you have like a little pop-up that says things like enter your email address to sign up for the newsletter, not only will we record those interactions, but you can actually see the data in the heat maps interacted with that too. So we should capture just about any of that content.
Okay, great. And Priscilla, and again, some of these questions are asked by Lucky Orange, but like in the session and the replay, they're not going to show some of these questions are answered. So just going to ask them, so other people that might be wondering could get their answer as well. So Priscilla is asking, can the customer contact us through chat, or is it that we can only contact the customer? I think you had the reactive, proactive thing, but if you want to speak to that.
Yeah, so chat, there's really three ways to approach chat. And part of it has to do with your availability throughout the day. So the first is just being available to chat. So you click a button that lets visitors know you're available, and then visitors can click it. That's more reactive. Then proactive is two different ways. There's identifying a certain visitor and clicking the ask to chat. And that we see that here in our live visitors, where you can say, hey, this is somebody, I can tell they've been on my site for a certain amount of time. Let me ask them to chat, and I can customize a message. And all that's done right through the system. The thing with proactive chat like that is not everybody is ready to chat with you. So while you might want to chat with them and answer their questions, they might not be ready, so in which case they could say yes please or no thanks, and you can customize that all through the dashboard. But if they do say yes, you have that opportunity to engage in that dialogue. And then that third method of chatting was those auto invites, where you can set up rules based upon time on site, time on page, or if they've never triggered a tag, so you could say, Did my visitor spend at least 30 seconds on my pricing page, and they've never triggered the tag of purchased? So then let me prompt them with a message that says, would you like to chat about our different products or our free shipping that we're offering right now and get 5% off? So you can actually incent people to chat as well.
Great. So let me see what else. So we had some questions in our group prior that I believe I sent you some of those. So just kind of wanted to go through some of that.
Yep.
So we can have a good sample size. So someone was asking, for anybody using Lucky Orange, my recordings are showing this as what the customers are seeing. They had to provide a screenshot I can't provide right now, but you can kind of get a general idea. So my recordings are showing what the customers are seeing on their mobile devices. Is this what they are actually seeing? I see my store on my phone, and it looks nothing like this. I can see why bounce rates would be so high for mobile. If there is so little you can see on the screen, is this something that I need to fix? So those concerned that, about mobile, traffic coming from mobile, what can you say to visitors coming in from mobile that would help them convert higher, or have you seen in trends that would help them get a better understanding of that?
Yeah, so mobile is tricky with how we build websites, right? A lot of us try to use responsive themes, and Shopify does a lot to try to help with that. But in any given day, Chrome on my phone might do an update that might cause my site to look different than it would for Safari or Opera or Samsung's built-in browser. So websites try to do their best to make it always work across things, but there can be an update that comes out that all of a sudden makes a certain segment of mobile phone users harder to convert, or a button's missing. We don't always know about it, again, unless someone tells us about it. So with our recordings, and they're on mobile devices, we're going to do our best to show you exactly what the visitor saw, a slimmed down version of the site that's going to look like it does on a mobile layout. We won't show mouse paths because there's no mouse. Instead of clicks, we're going to show taps, and we're going to see those interactions. So you're going to see if the visitor had errors or couldn't see an element on their mobile layout. In the recording playback, you're going to see that as well.
Okay, great. Let's see what else we have coming in. So, those concerned about the accuracy of Lucky Orange, they had a couple things come in, and had a couple sales today. I'll mention a couple things, and you could kind of, if that's okay, kind of speak to those things, if that's okay. And I could see myself twice. I don't know if we can switch back fully over to you, or
yeah, let's.
But here's what we have. How accurate is Lucky Orange? I had a couple of sales today. To my surprise, I missed one sale completely. Is it normal, or am I daydreaming? Another person says, is Lucky Orange always accurate with clicks? I just watched a customer click on the checkout button, and the next page it showed a search is not available page. They're doing a lot of searches before this. I tried to check out with the same item, and it went through like normal. Was it just me worried that I lost out on a sale because of it, and I have no idea what happened? So
I get the root of both questions, and they're kind of two different areas, but I'll touch on both. So the first answer is Lucky Orange is very accurate, but we're always looking to make it more accurate. As a matter of fact, we've been in the middle of a huge architecture change to give even more reliable and more accurate. We are known as always on, which means we try to record all visitors. We do not sample your data. There might be other people out there who sample the information, but we do not. With that said, there are certain reasons why at times a visitor may not be recorded in our system. Part of it could be as if the visitor bounces very quickly before the Lucky Orange code loads. It may show up in, say, a Shopify analytic or a Google analytic, but doesn't show up in Lucky Orange because the visitor bounced so quickly. There are other reasons why a visitor might not be tracked with Lucky Orange. But you might see a sale on your site from time to time. It could be they had a do not track setting, a really old browser that isn't compatible with this software, with this type of transmission of information. So there are a few edge cases where it may happen, but no, we totally recognize that and are actually doing a lot of things behind the scenes to help improve and narrow that margin. So we wouldn't intentionally leave anybody out in the form of sampling or anything like that, but there are just a few edge cases that I touched on that might cause a certain visitor to not be recorded. Now, I think the other question was about maybe some people not recording. What was the other part of the question? Remind me.
Yeah, so the first person, was talking about this.
They saw them click. So again, that has to do with accuracy and plotting of data. We're certainly available for a support perspective to look at something if something doesn't seem right. But without knowing exactly what happened in this scenario, I'll just talk about on a high level view. When we plot clicks and things like that, we look at where the click occurred, the element, the location of the element, and try to thumbprint these things while looking at where they lay out. So it's possible that a click occurred browser where something didn't get transmitted successfully in what we would call a non-dynamic view. It's also possible that the visitor had maybe two different tabs open, especially if they're doing a lot of searching. They could have done tab browsing, so they could have jumped tabs quickly, and now you are viewing the part of the recording where they're in a search tab and maybe wanted to come back. So there's a couple different reasons why that may occur, but again, we are always available for support. You can chat with us on our site. You can email us, support@luckyorange.com. We're available by phone as well, and we're happy to look at any one-off issues.
Okay, great. So definitely let them know. It's a good point. So let's see what else we have coming in. And just to kind of, what I heard the other day, I believe Anton mentioned it, to build on what you're saying further. Even Adobe, who's like $1 billion company, I believe it was like 30%. I could be misquoting, so look it up if you want to get the most accurate information. But they, I think like 30% of their marketing, they don't not able to track everything accurately. Even if like the biggest budgets, sometimes with that 70% of the data they use, to convert to a lot of sales. And some things are harder to track. Even bigger companies are trying to get closer to the 100% percentage, but it's hard to have that perfect number just because there's so many moving parts and so many things going on. So I don't know if you want to add to that, Danny, while I'm looking at the next question. But it's
absolutely, and yeah. I would say, stepping back, I think there's a tendency when you start trying out a software like Lucky Orange to get really enthralled and jump right in, and that's great, right? But what it lends itself to is analogy we like to use is you only see a few trees when you should be focusing on the forest, right? So while you might have one recording that didn't come in for whatever reason, step back and make sure we're focusing on the bigger picture, which is, why did the people who did visit the site, how far did they make it in this funnel and not convert? And for the recordings you have where the visitors did convert, what were the commonalities and the pathways and the interactions that they had that led them to be successful? And how can you replicate that with features? So dwelling on the micro for too long will almost cause that analysis or paralysis by analysis. So don't be afraid to step back and say, hey, all right, let me regain focus and try out a new chat method or try out a new poll. So that would be the advice I would offer there. Okay,
great. Let's see. So yeah, this is answered by Lucky Orange too, your colleague, I believe. But what if it's by FAISAL. What if I order the starter bundle, which is $10, and I have more than 25,000 page views a month? Would charge me automatically to the next higher bundle, or what? And then Lucky Orange answered, the account will pause tracking until you upgrade the account, or the account resets for the first of the next month. So is there anything you would want to build on that or add to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So all of our plans are interchangeable. If you do decide to upgrade plans, we would only charge you the prorated difference amount, at which point you could always move back down. But we will never auto charge you for a higher amount. This isn't like a cell phone carrier or something like that where you get charged for going over your plan. We'll provide alerts to let you know you're nearing your cap, at which point once you hit your cap, you will still have access to all the data you've collected up to that point. It just won't track new visitors or do new chats. So you can at that point decide, do you want to wait to the first of the next month to where it will reset, or upgrade for the time being.
Okay, good. So let's see. I think that's about it on the questions wise, Danny. So if you want to pop back in, we'll make sure to wrap up. And unless there's any other questions or anything like that, I think I think you gave a great presentation. I think hopefully folks start to understand if this is going to be a good fit for them, in their business. And if they don't know, then you got the trial, so you have nothing to lose. So you can go in and try the trial and see if you can get any meaningful data or conversions during that time. So is there any closing thoughts or anything else you'd like to build on that, Danny?
Yeah, I would say you really haven't experienced, while we got to see a demo of it, seeing it with your own visitor information is so much more compelling. So wherever you decide to do, take advantage of it, see some of your own insights, because I can promise you within those first few days, you're gonna have at least one nugget, one piece of low-hanging fruit that you can grab onto and say, I can change this behavior and do something about it. So I'm excited. I'm appreciative very much the dropship lifestyle and the partnership we have. I'm excited for all you out there, whether you've just started with your website or you've been going at it for a while. There's information to be learned and make improvements. So I'm excited for you all, and I really am very appreciative of the opportunity to speak with you. So thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Danny. And for those listening, now or during the replay, again, the link is going to be somewhere underneath there so you can check it out. If you have any questions, please put them wherever this video is posted, and we'll try to get to as many of your burning questions as possible thereafter. And thanks for your time too, Danny. Thanks for everybody that joined us. And if you got any value out of this, make sure you go to Lucky Orange's site, subscribe to our channel, Dropship Lifestyle, share it with someone that you think is going to get value out of this, and we'll be appreciative. So thanks, Danny. Now, there he is. How's it going?
Hey, guys. Thank you.
It's kind of hard switching between the screen share and his face. So you saw him in the sandwich kind of between all that. So there's Danny. So again, thank you, everyone.